While the BC NDP are currently ahead in the British Columbia provincial election polls, David Eby and his BC NDP can't even seem to figure out what their own campaign is about. They have no real big idea to run on or broad positive vision. They're simply flailing around and reacting to what the BC Conservatives are doing, a big tell that they know that they're behind. A problem for Eby and the NDP is that they have no accomplishments in government. Everything has gotten worse since the BC NDP took over in 2017. And now, all they can really run on is this vague notion that somehow the BC Conservatives would do a worse job than they're currently doing. They can't say that they've done a great job and that's why you should keep them in office. It's just that, we know we suck, but maybe John Rustad and the Conservatives could suck more, which there is a 0% chance of. Everything the BC Conservatives want to do are tried and true, tested policies that actually make a province flourish. Lowering taxes, lowering regulations, letting people do their own thing with their own money and businesses. And now the BC NDP, having nothing to really run on, are flailing on issues like IVF and abortion, as if anybody cared about that in this provincial election. This is what happened to Stephen Harper back in 2015. Stephen Harper was a good Conservative Prime Minister of Canada, but his 2015 campaign was frankly soulless. It had no real big idea behind it, had no vision. It was that the Conservatives have done a pretty good job, so keep us in because the NDP and the Liberals are irresponsible. Justin Trudeau is just not ready. It was a very weak campaign, thanks to Jenny Byrne and the rest of the Conservative consultants that wanted to play it safe. David Eby is in an even worse position because he can't even say he did a good job. He's done a terrible job, and then he's just basically casting aspersions at his BC Conservative opponents. And you can tell they don't know what they're doing based on their own election posts. This is something from the BC NDP's own Twitter account. It reads, David Eby and the BC NDP team are taking action to lower IVF costs and provide free birth control, ensuring that everyone has the right to make their own choices about starting their family. Rustad's $4.1 billion in healthcare cuts puts it all at risk. And first of all, the BC Conservatives are not cutting healthcare spending. The BC Conservatives released a policy document that said that in time, our per capita costs might be able to go down because we might be able to run the system more efficiently in the long run, which the BC NDP are pretending are cuts when it's really would just be lower per capita costs to get better results. But regardless, the BC NDP are trying to make IVF and birth control a big election issue in British Columbia. People can't afford groceries. People can't afford rent. And they want to talk about IVF and abortion and birth control. That's a big issue that they've been trying to swing at, is pretending that the BC Conservatives are wanting to restrict abortion. They haven't brought it up. Do you know how I know that they're not running a pro-life agenda? Because I'm pro-life and I don't detect anything pro-life about what the BC Conservatives are doing. Because frankly, BC residents don't really want to talk about that issue because affordability issues are so bad right now. You go through the BC NDP's timeline on their X account, and it's nonsense. The BC NDP posting this video, John Rustad's candidates are taking a page out of Trump's playbook. We should be protecting and increasing access to abortion, but too many of Rustad's candidates have spoken up against it. They literally have not. They've tried to attack Brian Burgay, the BC Conservative candidate for Vancouver Langara on this issue, when I personally know Brian, he is pro-choice. He's not a pro-life person, and he is somehow anti-abortion. But the NDP don't have anything to run on, so everything that so the BC Conservatives need to be anti-everything progressive, because even the BC NDP are having a problem getting progressives out to vote for them, because things aren't better. It doesn't matter how progressive you are. You're probably just going to stay home this election because there really isn't anything inspiring to vote for. I'm going to keep going down, but they literally posted, I'm not sure if it's still up. Oh, that's telling. They deleted it. So this is not up on their page anymore, but yesterday, during the presidential debates in the US, the BC NDP started tweeting out videos of Kamala Harris. Why? What does the Democrat candidate in the USA have to do with the BC NDP? I don't know. The BC NDP are just soulless, and so they have nothing to run on. And so they started tweeting out videos of somebody, like, I don't know, talking about, they had a video of Kamala Harris like laughing at John Rusted. It didn't make any sense to me. Oh wait, never mind. It's still up. I don't know why this exists. This is something from their actual account. It just says,
You know,
this is the audio that goes along with it.
you know, I always like to joke, and I mean, it's a sad reality, but how is it that we've convinced carbon-based beings that carbon is a problem?
And this is the BC NDP trying to attack John Rusted for not having a climate alarmist's view of climate change. John Rusted says he believes in climate change. He just doesn't believe in the alarmist view that we're going to be underwater in 10 years, and then when that doesn't happen, actually it's going to be the next 10 years, and then when that doesn't happen, it's going to be the next 10 years. That's John Rusted's position. That's the position of the vast majority of people who live in BC. Yeah, the climate changes, but me riding the bus isn't gonna make a difference. Me getting rid of all my cars is not what's gonna actually make the climate reverse. For the most part, we don't have that much control over it, especially as a singular province in a country that's not a big contributor. But anyways, they're going to talk about climate change as the main issue of this election, climate change and IVF, when again, people can't afford groceries. There was a 13-year-old girl the other day who was found dead in a homeless encampment who had overdosed on opioids, on illicit drugs that the BC government was providing her. She got addicted to opioids when she was 11 years old. I'm not sure how that happened, but her parents wanted to be able to bring her in for involuntary treatment. And the BC government said, no, she has to agree to do the treatment or we're not allowed to make her do it. So this girl who's 13 years old, who dies in a homeless encampment of an overdose on safe supply drugs, mind you, using crack pipes and snorting kits provided by the BC government, she can't buy cigarettes. She can't get a drink of alcohol at a bar, but she can go and get safe supply meth, heroin, hydromorphone, all this garbage. This government is out of touch in the most extreme way possible. They don't have any ideas, and that's why they're just attacking the BC Conservatives. They know the BC Conservatives have momentum, and their only chance of surviving is dulling the momentum. Because there ain't no big David Eby fans around BC. They just have to hope that enough people don't like John Rusted that David Eby is able to retain his position in office. I really don't think they're going to be able to pull it off because it's a change election. People want change. As simplistic as that sounds, it's true. Things are not good, and people will vote for the party that actually will deliver 180-degree change in direction. And so the BC NDP thinking that they're going to scaremonger people into thinking that the Conservatives are far right. And hey, look, the BC Conservative manager once did the OK sign to troll some lefty people. Okay, does that make my groceries cost less if I vote NDP because I'm mad about that? No, it doesn't. Most people are going to vote BC Conservative in this election. It's going to be tough election. If you guys can contribute to the BC Conservative campaign, I have a link to the Abbotsford South EDA. Donate there, and what we will do is package it up and send it out to other ridings in need. But I guess that's pretty much it for me today, guys. Make sure you contribute to the BC Conservatives if you live in the province. Right now, the NDP is able to fund itself mostly off of taxpayer dollars because they have forced the taxpayers to give them $2 per vote that they got in the last election every year. And they got 50% of their campaign expenses given back to them after the last campaign because they got more than 10% in all the ridings. So they get 50% of their campaign expenses paid for by taxpayers. It's absolutely insane. So if you live in BC, make sure to contribute to the BC Conservatives so that we can get David Eby out of office. I'm really tripping up in this video. Sorry about that, guys. But that should be it for me. If you guys don't live in BC, you can contribute to my Give, Send, Go legal fund campaign in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time.